right, so we experiencing version 12.3, I believe. So it's been a while since I've tested out the full self-driving, and my lovely wife was nice enough to indulge me here for a little bit. So we're not going to bother her for long, but let's see how it does. So I will say it's a vast improvement, but let's see how it does. We're here in the Tampa, Florida area, Riverview area, so we're gonna see how it does. Okay, here it is here, taking a right, and it is in a full FSD mode, and it is driving itself. Of course, you do have to keep your hand on the steering wheel and all of that, but even right up front, you can see it's much more aggressive, and it does have 3 different settings. I do have it in the aggressive or assertive.
In 500 feet, turn right onto U.S. Highway 301 South.
I do have it in assertive mode. So, but in this assertive mode, it's definitely more aggressive and more confident. If it was a human, I would call it more confident in its driving. So let's see how it does here. So turn signal on. Good distance from the vehicle in front of us too, I think. Much better with that, and on the interstate also. Pretty busy. We got a lot of action here. This is over in like Brandon, Florida area, somewhere in there. So busy area. And as of now, it's done great. So we'll see how it does here. We'll let it take us all the way to the interstate and get a few minutes on the interstate, and then we'll end this. So yep. And thanks for being with us. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the video. And if you were wondering, this is the Tesla Model Y Performance here that we're in. And so we'll just see here. So still waiting at the light. All systems seem to be go. It'll actually be taking us back towards the Riverview, Ruskin area. So we'll let's see if it can get us to 75. So the Interstate 75 we're going to be taking, and we're going to see if it can actually get us to 75 without any disengagements here. And again, I would say pretty definitely a substantial amount of traffic here in the area. Okay, here we go. So we're off. One thing I'm already noticing, it stays closer to the vehicle is following. That was a big issue for me before. It used to stay so far back until it made other people just like think you wanted someone to get in the gap. It's keeping that gap much closer. Yeah, that's much better. So I can already say that.
Right onto U.S. Highway 301 South.
Okay, so we're gonna be making a right on the 301. Oh, okay. How many lines to follow there? And it doesn't mind going now. Like, it'll go now. When it wants to go, it'll go. Make sure it's got a little bit of staying in the right lane, and yep, pretty smooth braking, good distance between the car in front of us. Not bad so far, so I'm gonna give it an A as of this. Again, we have a few more turns over here. Let's see if we can go disengagement free until we get on the interstate. Again, Tesla taking us from Brandon, Florida area back over to the Riverview or Ruskin areas. The air is definitely nice and cool. And I will say I'm going to go ahead and give you my conclusion here while we're waiting. But I've been experiencing, this was doing the 30-day free trial that Tesla gave us. I think they gave everybody. So I definitely don't mind moving here. But overall, yeah, it does. It's a much improved system. I would actually let it drive me somewhere now. I definitely think within the next 2 years they'll have this completely whipped. It's not perfect yet. Like it'll do I've had to do a couple disengagements over the few days we've been using it. So not perfect, but it's a big improvement. Like right there, it really sped up to get on through there.
In 1,000 feet, take the Interstate 75 south ramp on the right towards Naples.
Okay, now we got a ramp to get on for 75 over here in 1,000 feet. Let's see how it does here.
Now take the Interstate 75 south ramp on the right.
Oh, and it really speeds up there. Yeah, it definitely is a little more aggressive, doesn't mind going. Now let's see what we do with this merger onto the interstate here. Some slight turns here. Seems to be handling them with no problem. It gets past on the left, but it doesn't seem to mind that. It keeps on trucking there. Okay. And also there's a button on the right of the steering wheel that turns the speed up. So if you have that up, then it will actually pass people. So oh yeah, good bit of pickup there and a smooth transition onto the interstate. We've got some braking here. Uh-oh, turn signal on. Turn signal on. And it's changing lanes on its own, making a pass out here. Oh, it is changing lanes again. Oh, it has put itself in the fast lane now. Look at that. Well, damn Tesla, you do you.
It's in the middle.
Oh, it's in the middle. I'm sorry. The middle. But it did pass some people. I thought it was in the fast lane for a second. Pretty good bit of traffic. Braking, so. I won't kill it. So we're probably 15 minutes from our exit, so I'm not going to hold y'all the whole way, but it has exited. It's made a couple different exits off the interstate, and actually it's beeping. Oh, hand on steering wheel. But it's made a couple exits even with heavy traffic, and it's done flawless. I give it an A-. I can see a little room for improvement, but it exited no problem, no issue at all. So but we're gonna end this one here. Y'all comment, tell me what you think. This was the Tesla Model Y. This was in 2024, version 12.3, I believe. Uh-oh, turn signal on. It's doing, it wants to move. Let's see what it's doing. It must have canceled out. So it went turn signal. So it was gonna do something there, and then it canceled it. I guess it decided not to. Interesting. And it seems very, like if it was a human, I would say it seems very confident in its driving as opposed to before it was a lot of hesitation. My wife also pointed out no phantom braking. Before, if you're familiar with going into the underpasses, when it met the shadows, it would often phantom brake, thinking it was something there and brake. She actually went under like an intersection the other day. It had like 3 different intersections. Uh-oh, it is. Oh, it's maneuvering. Yes, it did. Now, this is going to be interesting. I may actually keep y'all a while longer because we do have an exit coming up. It's in the fast lane now, I believe. So we're in the far left lane, and it's going to have to get to the far right lane to exit. Interesting. I wasn't going to go that far, but let's see. We'll see. Good speed, passing people. and I think it's probably set for a max of 85. So 85 seems to be the max that you can turn up the speed to. And again, that the wheel on the right hand side of the steering wheel, if you turn that up, that will turn that speed up, and if you turn it down, it'll turn it down unless you set the maximum speed that you want the car to obtain. So if it's clear, it will obtain that speed. Now, I think on one pet peeve, I'd like it to be a little closer to the car that we're following, but it's not as bad as it used to be. Okay, that was under underpass, no phantom braking there, no issues there. Again, this is your Tesla in a full self-driving mode, I-75, coming out of the Brandon, Florida area. I wouldn't want to see it in an emergency situation. I'll say that. Yeah, I'm going to take my wife over in an emergency situation. Haven't seen it in an emergency situation, but I just some pretty hard. Okay, it braked pretty good there for a second. Yeah, I just don't know. So I'm not going to dock it on that because I don't know how it would act in a emergency situation. I'd like to see that from the, I'll watch that from my television at home. I wouldn't want to be front seat for that. So again, not saying that it may be excellent in emergency situations. It's that I haven't, I don't want to be the first to try that. Again, it's got an exit here in...
Does it have some it does for like emergency vehicles?
Also, that's my wife asking, does it have anything it does as far as being able to detect emergency vehicles? Don't quote me, but I believe it does detect like the police on the side and we'll get out of that lane. I believe it does do that, if I'm not mistaken.
And what about potholes?
No, as we've seen, that's a very good point you brought up. As you've seen, it is, actually I'm not going to say that and get in trouble today because it's going to be a good night. It does not avoid potholes like some so it does not avoid potholes, no. So that, and I think that is actually a future, that is a future technology or point that they were talking about. And it's funny you mentioned that either go in a fleet, like a fleet type setting. You were mentioning the communication from Tesla to Tesla the other day with the 5G I was telling you about. So yeah, that, so once, say if you had that and then one Tesla, did run over a bump and learn there was a bump there, it would be able to tell the rest of the whole fleet, like you were saying, through that communication, that it is a bump there and it would avoid it next time.
So on the flip side of that too, as well as speed bumps.
Yeah, speed bumps. Now that's a good question. Does it? I don't know if it detects speed bumps or not now. That's a very good question. That would be a very good next video. I do not know if it can detect speed bumps. I'm gonna say I would think it can detect speed bumps. That should be pretty easy to detect, especially the painted ones. And it's been driving all by itself this whole time. But that would be a good test. And I would think it could potholes. Maybe that will be in some future release or something. But as of now, no, it will not avoid a pothole. So we are still southbound Interstate 75, Florida, Central Florida area, and very interested to see how it's going to handle this when we get off this interstate here. Again, we're in far left lane. It's got to get over to the far right lane in order to exit.
I have another question.
And go ahead, wifey. Ooh, hard braking there. Not super hard, but that was definitely... What was that? Did something jump out in front of it?
No, just sudden stop.
Okay.
Traffic ahead.
That was significant. Good job. A job on the tip. But yeah, that was definitely some braking there. What was your question?
So in Florida, if they pass that law about the speed lane or passing lane, will they need to update the software to accommodate that?
Yep. And Elon Nim, and I'm sure his crack team of engineers will probably do that in about 5 hours and have it pushed out the next day. So yep, very good question. And yep, and with...
I don't know if they heard me. I want to repeat your question.
So the question was, if here in Florida, the governor is debating signing a bill that says if you have to get out the left-hand lane when you're not passing anybody. Think that Jesus, I've been waiting on that bill since Jesus left, but that's another story. But you have to get out the fast lane. So my wife was asking, would Tesla have to reprogram the vehicle in order to make it follow that new law? And of course, yes, it was. And yes, they would, do that in a day or two, probably push it out over it's really moving here now. Like it's going, something got in front. It was moving, I'm gonna say running about 80 there. Something jumped in front of it. It confident, no problems. I don't know what that was. This actually was accelerating. That car still passed.
I had to increase the speed because it reduced to 60 good construction zone.
Oh, is it back up now?
Yeah, 85.
Well, we may not have got past that. We hit reset. Now we've got it back on 85, so we'll see here. We might get another pass before we get off. Somebody gonna call me in a minute to interrupt this video, but at least I got this much of it. So if you
I
haven't,
don't see this for day to day. I see this for people that do like long-term driving.
you don't see it for day to day. You see it once it becomes. Why don't you see it for day to day?